Do you believe Plato's ideas like justice are unchanged even for today? Plato's idea is ahistorical. It means it doesn't change at all. It's just pure space. There's no history of Plato. It's all the same forever. That's why Althusser says there is no history of philosophy. Philosophy has no history. That's what he said. Philosophy has no history. Because the Platonic idea is eternal. But the reason it's eternal is because it's a bluff. It's a bluff. It has no content. For example, the concept of form. Is it eternal? Form is form, right? Form is form. A form, okay. We have a form. The ancients had a form. The ancients before them, for as long as we could speak, we had a word for form. So is form the abstract idea of form? Is that eternal? Yes, but because it's a bluff, because when you start to deal with particular forms, you start to realize that the nature of form itself is different across history. You're making simple things sound complicated. Form changes, so clearly not. The content of form changes, not form itself, you fucking moron. F- in my class. And you're gonna stay after detention too. F- in my fucking class. F-, you fucking dumbass. Of course form doesn't change. It's form. Form in the abstract does not change. Particular forms change, but those are called content. You flunked. Failed my class. Form is form. Now, what form is the content. Why do you all think Hegel was so concerned with history? Because Hegel was dealing with the scandal history imposed on philosophy. By nature, the Platonic idea is supposed to be eternal. Hegel has to confront the fact that the eternal form of the idea has to manifest itself in different ways because of changes in history. Hegel was not arbitrarily interested in history. There's a reason for this. Because Hegel's brilliance, his genius, why he's the last philosopher ever. There's never been a philosopher since Hegel, by the way. The reason for it is because Hegel finally integrated the process of historical change into the idea. The idea became a moment for Hegel in the mind, of the mind. And for Hegel, the mind is eternal. And what is the mind? Well, there you go. For what is the mind is God, divinity, or maybe something more nefarious. I mean, was Hegel a Satanist? We don't know. I mean, it could be, yes, the Godhead of Gnosticism or the occult, mysticism. Or for Feuerbach, humanity. It's humanity. It's humanity itself. It's man himself is the mind, the Hegelian mind. He's nothing more than man. Man himself. Man has more than we gave him credit for. For Feuerbach, we gave it to God. What belongs to man? Himself. How Spinoza wrecks this. I don't have time to get in Spinoza's spider web of mental rot. Aristotle, let me tell you guys this. Why are there philosophers after Plato? Plato has devised the perfect philosophical system. Plato is philosophy, the love of Sophia. Why does Sophia have so many lovers? Clearly something is wrong with her. If a woman has 20 divorces, something's wrong with her, isn't there? If a woman is divorced and married 100 times, would it be sensible to blame each man? Or do you start thinking maybe something wrong with Sophia? Of course you say something's wrong with Sophia. But for some stupid reason in the history of philosophy, we blame the man. Every time there's a philosopher, he says, this is how we solve it. This is how we do it. The very fact there was one divorce proves there's something wrong. The very fact there's one divorce proves something's wrong. Plato is philosophy. It is philosophy. The reason Aristotle and every other philosopher after him, but specifically Aristotle, represents the most fundamental division in the history of philosophy, is because of the inadequacy of philosophy to address the question of being. Aristotle is considered evil and satanic, whatever, because Aristotle represents at its most fundamental level the inadequacy of philosophy. But what makes Aristotle evil is because he also tries to save philosophy. He says, okay, there's all this inadequacy, but don't worry, at the end we save philosophy. Philosophy is okay. The consistency of the idea is maintained. Even worse than divorce. Why is Sophia being seen with so many different men? Sophia is originally married, for example, to Plato. Plato first marries her, right? Why is she sleeping around with all these other... She's being seen just coincidentally. You find her in another man's bed. You find her in an alleyway with another man. Oh, no. She wasn't sleeping with him. It was just, I'll solve it. I'll save the marriage. No, something is wrong. The truth is that the only philosopher is Plato. Hegel, I call him the last philosopher, right? Because after him, not because Hegel is technically a philosopher, but because no philosophy is possible after Hegel. Hegel represents the end of what Plato started. The answer to Plato's riddle. And escape from Plato's labyrinth. The labyrinth of philosophy. And that's why Hegel's disciple, Marx, represents a new beginning for mankind. Marx became what? Marx became the Soviet Union. Marx became the Communist Party of China. And such as now, here's our world, right? This is the world we're living in now.